I'm a chess master. There's a lot of strengths and flaws in my thinking process. If you watch this video, you'll learn how I use my thinking process against players around my level. Stick around. All right, so first opponent is 2314. I'm going to be explaining my thinking system, my 2400 thinking system against high rated players. So I'm playing the Nimza Indian defense, bishop to g5. I haven't really seen, to be honest. Should still be able to just go bishop to b4 check. Knight c3 was played. And I like to play moves like c5 here, immediately targeting their center. Like the whole goal is still development at the end of the day. Pawn to d5. I like to play I like to play queen to a5 and apply pressure to the knight because knight to e4 is also a plan, which is why he took on f6. That's usually the move. But now I could say I have the bishop here. So my whole plan from here is to try to open the position. And my opponent's plan is to keep the position closed. I'm thinking about pawn b5, pawn takes b5, and then pawn takes d5. Let's try that. So, I'm just trying to open the position. So he takes on b5, I take on d5. The thing is, the knight is not able to take due to this spin, and the queen is not able to take because it's going to be leaving the knight unprotected. So he has to play something like e3. Now, after e3, the question is, how do we continue? Like, I want to go d4, but takes, queen takes. I'm not going to be winning anything. So he did play e3. I need to finish my development. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a6 in order to develop my knight, and my bishop is going to go to b7. And I'm most likely going to be castling on the queen side or maybe even the king side. Like, I'm not sure where my king is the safest, to be honest, because the king side is already exposed. The queen side is exposed. Maybe I even leave it in the center. So what am I expecting? Again, pawn a3 doesn't do much. Knight e2 was played. That makes a lot of sense because now if I decide to take on b5, his queen is able to take on d5 because he gets some extra support on his knight. With that being said, I need to play the move bishop to b7 to protect my pawn. This knight is still pinned, so queen takes doesn't do much. Now I'm expecting him to take on e6, but if he takes on e6, he's helping my development, and then I should be able to quickly castle my king. So I'm not ahead by anything. The only thing I could say is I have the bishop here, and I also have a lead in development. Like, my pieces are more active than his. I'm sure of that. And I want to say his king is in the center, but my king is also in the center. But I think his king being in the center is a bit more unsafe. I want to make I want to make d4 work. d4 takes, knight takes doesn't do anything. I want to make c4 work. Like, if I'm able to play c4, knight c5, knight d3, or c4, knight d5, knight e4, that would be very nice. Seems to take a while though. But let's see what he does. For example, if he plays pawn a3, I play pawn c4, then he moves the rook. Okay, that's actually very strong. Knight f4 is also very strong. So knight f4, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, I takes, and I'm fine. Pawn push takes, queen takes. With that being said, I think I need to just put my king somewhere. Like, whether it's the king side or the queen side, it just has to go somewhere. I need to get a rook on the e file. I need to play pawn to d4 and make it work. I also need to get, okay, I think I need to get my rook on the c file as well. Because if my rook was on the c file, d4 would be very strong. So the question is, do I go rook to c8? No. Rook c8 takes, queen takes, and I'm fine. So rook c8, pawn a3, pawn d4 should win. Takes, rook. Oh, but then I think I'm going to try rook to c8. Rook to c8. Rook c8, there's bishop takes, queen takes. Oh, rook c8, there's bishop takes, queen takes, and then he has knight takes. Oh, okay, let's think. Maybe I have to go d4 because if I castle, it's the same thing. Bishop takes, knight takes. So I'm probably going to lose the pawn anyways. So might as well I lose it doing it like this. So d4, then once he takes, I takes, and then once the queen takes, not sure. Castle. Yeah, I'm just going to castle. Queen takes, I check. This is very dynamic scenario. Like, my king is not safe. His king is not safe. Bishop to e2, maybe rook c8. I'm gonna be down by a pawn, by the way. So he takes. I'm wondering if I'm able to just castle here. Because if he takes, I go knight takes, and if bishop, yeah, let's castle here actually. Let's castle here, and then if he develops the bishop, I still get the chance to take. Bishop e2. I'm not really seeing any advantage I have, but I'm still confident that my pieces are more active than his. So bishop e2 was played. This is not hanging. Bishop, pawn takes, queen takes, pawn takes, queen takes. The guy's just gonna castle on the next move, though. That's the thing. And then f6 is also hanging. Rook over castle takes, queen takes. Okay, I don't see what I have. Where's my attack? Takes, queen takes, knight c5. He's just gonna castle. All right, change of plans. Slight change of plans. Let's go king h8, rook g8. So once he castles, you could say I have some attack on his g2 pawn. Like, I'm not sure why I'm deciding to play this aggressive. This is a bit too aggressive, but I thought I had something. I have to play fast. I mean, once my pieces are active, something will present itself. Now I have two pieces targeting his g2 pawn. His knight guards g2 though, so I'm thinking of some possibilities of trying to get rid of his knight. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays pawn g3, but it would weaken his king. So still have some slight compensation for being down a pawn. Okay, pawn to d5 is an issue as well, man. That's definitely an issue. Definitely an issue because my bishop isn't as active as it was anymore. Um, okay, I'm slowly not liking my position anymore. I'm going to play c4. This is me just going full on dynamic. I'm basically saying I'm going to checkmate him because pawn c4 is also sacrificing a pawn. But I'm trying to ensure that when he plays a3, my bishop is able to come back and attack his knight. My knight is able to get to the c5 square. So I'm just willing to lose everything in order to get to his king, which is very risky, and my time is lower than his. So it's very, very tricky. Maybe after bishop takes, I should go rook to c8 first. Queen to d4, very strong. He's targeting f6, and I just can't allow him to take my pawn on f6. It's just too weak, man. Okay, let's go queen d8. We have to guard the pawn on f6. Bishop c5 next, maybe. I just can't. It's crazy. Now my position is just outright bad. Knight e4. Oh. Okay, let's go bishop back. Have to guard the pawn. If he push, I take the knight. Um, but it's maybe I'm trying to play pawn to d6. It's just losing. It's crazy how I thought I had such attack on his king. Where did I go wrong? But it's not the end of the world though. It's definitely not the end of the world. All right, so bishop takes was played. I'm thinking knight b4, threatening this far. But what do I do after that? That's the thing. There's also a rook g4, which threatens the knight. Pawn d6 will always be a problem. But if he plays pawn d6, well, if I takes, there's queen takes. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Hit threaten the far, pawn d6, I takes, queen takes, bishop takes. So let's start by threatening the far. And then maybe after rook c1, rook g5. So I think it's losing though, but I have to just play aggressive and attacking moves. So he defended the fork. Now we go rook to g4, threatening the unprotected knight. Maybe queen to g8, but I don't think that will ever work because my f6 pawn is too weak. Unless queen to g7 pins the knight and the queen is unprotected and I'm attacking f4. I mean, it would be funny if I'm able to start attacking him again, but that would just be like a dream come true. He's not gonna allow all of that. So let's say pawn g3, rook g8, knight takes f6, queen to g7. Oh boy, man, he has knight h5. Well, if knight h5, there's rook takes d4. It's weird. His time is now running low. I'm almost a minute ahead of him on the clock, so let's see. But this is still losing. I think he needs to just play something like a3, and if I take his knight, he takes my knight. But queen back to e3 also does something. I mean, pawn d6, I should still be able to take, or just pull the bishop back. I'm just gonna start creating weird threats, like maybe f5. F5 he checks. King over, there's knight here. No, that doesn't do anything. So let's try f5. F5 hits the knight, maybe bishop g4 next. I'm just trying to like some form of attack, but my king is now just all exposed on this diagonal. And if I move my bishop, my knight is gonna be unprotected. So if this works, then I'm just lucky. I'm trying my best not to blunder though, because I think it's still a dynamic position. And if I'm able to just play a bit fast, I'm going to be ahead on the clock and he's going to panic and blunder. So queen to c3 is a check. Queen c3, I have to go here, and then both of his knights are going to be under attack. Knight to g6. Knight g6, I will go bishop to g5. And if queen c3, pawn f6, and queen b4. So knight g3 does work. And then f5 is also under attack. So bishop to g5, bishop g5, there's queen c3, pawn f6, there's queen b4, hit the bishop. I take, hit the rook. Hmm. I mean, what else do I have? It's one of those moments. Like, what else do I have? Let's go bishop g5, queen c3, f6, and once he takes, I takes. That's the whole idea. If he takes my bishop, I take his rook. So I'm assuming he's going to move his rook, and then I'm probably going to go rook to b8, put my rook on the same line as his queen. The guy's ahead by two whole entire points. Like, we have to just, like, whenever you're losing, your goal should be to complicate the game. Like, you don't want a simple position that is easy to play anymore. You want to have a complex position. For example, another thing that I'm noticing is the fact that my rook is on the same rank as his queen, which means I could start thinking about bishop takes d5. And then if bishop takes d5, I play bishop takes g3, my rook attacks his queen. And then once his queen moves, maybe I sack checks, find some magical ways to swing my queen over in the attack. I don't know, but the guy's time is running out. That's okay. Rook to d1 just prevents all of that. Because now if I takes, there's rook takes. Boy. So he did go rook to d1. Um, so I'm gonna just quickly play rook to b8 because it puts the rook on the same line as his queen. So he's now thinking about discovered attacking ideas, but he also has to ensure that the queen keeps this bishop guarded, because if he doesn't, then I'm gonna win the bishop. So he plays queen c3. Now I'm thinking of queen bishop to e5, because bishop e5 hits the queen still has to keep the bishop guarded. Well, I'm the one losing, so I have to play for the tricks. Let's hit the queen. This could be a removing the guard tactic if he's not able to guard the bishop, but he is able to guard the damn bishop. Okay. Um, I was thinking queen g8, but there's queen f5. There's no queen f5, because if queen f5, he loses the bishop. So queen g8 this is gonna scare him. This move is gonna scare him. Like, it's kind of weird because I'm threatening to play f4, winning this pawn. The guy has a minute 10 on his clock. I don't think I'm losing anymore, which is crazy. Because how did all of this happen? How all of a sudden my pieces are doing attacking role? So he pulls the bishop back. What was the plan? Hit him with f4. Maybe pawn d6 hits my queen. I take on g3. He takes the queen. I take on h2 with check. And if he plays king to h1, bishop takes g2 is going to be a checkmate. That would be the craziest thing. So we're going to go for it. So push f4. If he moves the knight, we take on g2, obviously. So, I mean, who's not going to play d6? But little does he know that I'm not going to move my queen. He plays d6. Now I take the free knight, and he's not able to take the queen because I take with check, king has to move, and that's mate. So let's grab the knight. Now he's like, okay. You see, he quickly did it, not knowing that he's mated. That's a check. King has to move, sir. He's probably going to resign here. He resigns. Our new opponent is Raheem Glaves from Jamaica. This is going to be a fun game. So he's playing the paired defense. Let's go d4 here. Knight f6. I'm just gonna go knight c3, guard the pawn. Usually they go g3. He plays immediate e5. He wants to play the lines where we trade the queens off the board, and then he plays c6. I don't want to play that line though. That's kind of boring. Let's keep the queens on the board. I want to play something aggressive and attacking. So let's just go knight e2. If he ever takes, I'm just gonna take back. I'm expecting some g6, bishop g7 idea. I'm gonna play, bishop to e7 castle. He wants to just get his king out the center of the board very quickly. Let's go g3, bishop to g2 here. I'm also trying to get my king out the center of the board as quickly as possible as well. So he castles. Let's go bishop to g2. I want to get my king castled, play moves like h3, bishop e3, queen d2, just the regular development moves. We also have to be a bit quick. Knight to c6 is usually good. If he takes, I'm just gonna take back though. I mean, I'm not gonna play d5. Kind of closes the position a bit. So let me just get my king out the center of the board. Like if he takes, I'm just gonna take back. Bishop to g4 is annoying. I knew he would have played that move. That's very annoying because now I have to play f3. Yeah, let's go f3. F3 hits the bishop. I wanted to keep my bishop active, but that was just an annoying move. Maybe he's going to pull the bishop back to h5. If bishop h5, I'm probably able to play g4, d5, knight g3, knight f5. He allows it. Okay, let's think. Let's think. Now I want to squeeze his position. So, I mean, bishop e3 should also be fine, to be honest. Because if I play bishop e3, unless he's able to play d5, but I like the idea of d5. Like hit him with d5. He has to pull his knight back to b8. Hit him with g4. Bishop back. Hit him with knight here. Pawn c6 though. Pawn c6 is kind of annoying. Hmm. All right, let's think. Let's just develop first. Let's focus on our development. I'm probably gonna play it like that, but it's because the position is gonna be closed. I'm not really seeing the advantage that I get, but it's gonna be a slight advantage. So now he plays a6. A6. A6 doesn't really do much. Now we're going to play queen to d2, just connecting our rooks to regular development stuff. And then I'm probably going to hit him with d5. Because I don't think he knows what's happening here, to be honest. Like, he may needs to play d5, but if he plays d5, takes, takes, takes. So now he plays b5. Now I'm thinking of d5. But if d5, there's knight a5, I'm always going to be able to play b3 though. So yeah, now we're going to be going for it because I don't want him to get an attack like this. So let's go d5. Let's hit the knight. If knight a5, pawn b3, and his knight is misplaced, I think he needs to pull his knight all the way to the background, which is going to give me a lot of time. But pawn c6 is going to be kind of annoying, to be honest. So I'm not going to act like the position is winning or anything. It's just one of those strategic battles. So he plays knight to a5. I'm going to play pawn to b3, so the knight is not able to move to c4, and he needs to play pawn c6 as quickly as possible. Okay, knight b7 is also not bad. It makes playing c6 harder for him though, but I could see his knight heading to the c5 square. But let's continue with the plan. Let's go pawn g4, hit the bishop. And then once the bishop moved, knight g3, heading towards the f5 square. Like that was always the plan. So now knight g3. I'm also thinking of a4 here. And if he plays a5, knight back hit this pawn. If he puts the knight on c5, I'm thinking about taking it, but I'm probably not going to do it. But I'm thinking about it. So he plays knight f to d7, which makes a lot of sense. Because, okay, now there's no f5. But he's ensuring that I'm not able to push my h pawn. And if I push f4, he takes, and this is strong. I want to play b4. b4 just prevents any of his knights from being active. Yeah, let's just do that. No, none of his knights. Oh, shoot, but there's knight b6. I'm weakening the c4 square. So now he plays h6. He wants to play bishop g5, exchange his bad bishop. That makes a lot of sense. Um, I can't really prevent that, to be honest. So let's play a4. The idea of a4 is to, kind of open the position on the queen side. I think my pieces are more active than his, so I need to start some attack. And probably I play a5 just to ensure that his knights are not doing anything. But from a strategic standpoint, I think my pieces are doing more work than his. Bishop to g5. Bishop g5, no, he loses a pawn. If he takes, rook takes. Okay, so rook takes, knight b6, takes, pawn takes, rook here, then he keeps the bishop. That's the thing. So I'm actually going to play knight takes, so that way his knight isn't too active going to b6, and I'm able to play c4, c5 type of move. Like we have to be very patient here. Like I'm not trying to rush this position, but we also have to ensure that we pay attention to what's happening on the clock. Because if you notice, we both have the same amount of time on the clock. So the moment someone starts thinking too long, it's over. I'm expecting bishop g5. I'm going to quickly play c4 if he plays that move. Yeah, let's quickly play c4. And then if he takes, I takes, then the plan is going to be c5, c6. Uh, Maybe he could try knight b6. But if knight b6, I'm going to take, his a6 pawn is going to be weak. Bishop to f4, takes, knight t5 is definitely an idea. Like if he goes for that, I'm not gonna be surprised because he knows a little bit about chess. All right, so knight to b6. Do we take and then take, or do we just keep the tension and then play rook c1, guard the pawn? If he takes, I takes, and I'm fine. I think we should do that. Yeah, keeping the tension is just too important. It makes it harder for him when we keep the tension. Now, if he takes, I takes. I'm not expecting a lot to happen on the king side. I want you guys to also notice that his light squared bishop is actually not active. Like it's pointing towards a pawn chain. So I'm actually not gonna play knight to f5. I may even play knight f1. Well, I don't think I had the chance to play knight f1. So maybe if I get the chance to play knight f1, my knight is gonna be way more active on e3. But yeah, he's doing a lot of thinking. Yeah, I think he kind of feels that he's in trouble here. Pawn to a5, I wasn't expecting, but that's a nice move because he needs to do moves like that. So I'm trying to make pawn to c5 work. I'm trying to make, so let's say takes, pawn takes, wait, pawn c5. If he takes, I take, and if he takes, I take. And if after queen takes, I push. Knight b4. Okay, let's take on g5 first. There's a lot of stuff that's about to happen, but I have to be very precise. If I takes, pawn takes, and he's fine. If I push, he's fine. I think I have to play c5 if I want to win. So pawn c5, if takes takes, I should be winning. So pawn c5, I'm expecting knight takes, and then I have rook takes, and then if he takes, I take. Let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. I'm still attacking his G pawn, so the queen is not as active as she needs to be. I have 522, he has 440. We have to pay attention to the time. Let's take back on a5. Oh, shoot, I miscalculated. If he takes and I takes, there's knight takes, which means after he takes, I have to take here first. And then once the queen takes, okay, this is getting a bit weird. I think I miscalculated something. Because even if I get the chance to play pawn c6, and he just moves the knight to c5. Me taking here, he's just going to play rook takes. So I definitely miscalculated something there. So maybe I should take here first. Yeah, let's just take. And then once he plays pawn takes, I take, and he's going to play knight c5. Let's take. The position is now equal. My light squared bishop is also not doing anything. So both of our light squared bishops are not doing anything. So I need to quickly get my light squared bishop in the game. My knight is also not doing anything. I'm not as in love with my position as I did before. Knight c5 threatens a 4. Knight c5, maybe I should suck. Nah, I'm not gonna suck. That's bad. So, okay, he checks first. Let's just move the king. Let's move the king out the way. Now we don't have to worry about this diagonal anymore. Knight c5, he probably just doesn't want me to sacrifice. Rook to b8 is coming. So I'm probably gonna play rook to b1 or bishop. So knight c5. I want to play bishop f1, but rook to b8 is just annoying. So rook to b1. Let's try rook to b1. I'm trying to keep his rook out of the game. Like, if I'm able to trade the queens off the board, I could try to win. It's weird position, man. It's a very weird position. Hmm. I need to get my knight and my bishop doing something, and I need to do it quickly. He needs to get his bishop doing something. His knight is already doing something, but his rook is not really doing anything. So my rook and my queen is active. His rook and his knight is active. But he's the one with the tempo here. So knight to d3. Oh my god. Knight d3 to f5 is very strong. So he plays rook to a8. He's getting his rook in the game. And now I'm going to go bishop to f1. Bishop to f1 prevents the knight from coming in. Maybe he wants to trade queens. Maybe. Who knows? Let's see. If he trades the queen, it's going to be an easier game for me, to be honest. His knight is also not able to come in. And I'm ahead by a minute on the clock. So worst case scenario, we're just going to win on time. So he moves the king out the way. That's actually a very nice move. Very patient guy. Queen to b6. Maybe there's queen to a2. Hmm. Knight to e2. Knight to c3. Knight to e2. Let's go knight e. No, knight e2 allows knight here. Knight e2, knight d3. Maybe take the pawn. I'm gonna go into complications. I don't think he's gonna sack the pawn. But knowing him, he's probably gonna sack it. He didn't. He went for the end game, which is I don't think going for the end game was the smartest thing to do because my weakest pawn is on f3. His weakest pawn is on d6. There's knight takes e4. That is a huge threat here. We're in the end game, so the plan has to be attack the pawn. So rook to a6, I'm thinking of. Takes, king over takes. Let's just go rook to b6. Rook b6 hits the pawn. If he plays rook to a1, I play king to g2. Or maybe even knight g3. I'm doing fine here. If he plays rook to a6, I'm gonna trade. Oh my god. Oh, I forgot he was attacking my pawn. Damn, I missed that. How did I miss that move? Oh my lord. Okay, let's go knight g3. How did I miss that move, man? That was just attacking my pawn and I missed it. So now he plays knight takes. Now if I takes, there's rook takes. So takes, bishop takes, and then if I play here, I'm mated. So king g2. Let's go king g. No, king g2, rook back. Let's try king g2. I don't know how I allowed all of this, but the guy's ahead by 2 pawns. It's kind of weird, maybe he's gonna lose his d pawn, but yeah, this is crazy because this is how I usually lose to him. If he checks, I go back and his rook, he just needs to move the rook. I take stakes and it's just probably losing. So I think he has to check and I have to go back. And then he goes here. And then after take stakes, so check, I go back. He moves the rook. He has to move the rook. And then I takes, bishop takes, I takes, he takes, and I'm just going to be down by 2 pawns. That sucks. Good thing I have way more time than him. So I'm also trying to win on time. So let's take bishop takes, and rook takes I'm expecting. If I trade, I'm just losing. If I trade, I'm just losing. I can't trade. Yeah, let's just keep the pieces on the board. This is weird. So that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. If How do I do this? Hit the bishop here. Pawn push, pawn push. Yeah, let's just hit the bishop. Bishop here, pawn push. This is also coming next. Okay, this is loss. Let's hit the pawn. It's loss. If he takes, I takes. He guards the pawn. Let's play h3. Now we just gonna just roll this pawn up the board. Yeah, he's not gonna mess this up. But I have some more time than him, so let's see if we can win with the time or make it hard for him being in time pressure. It's hard for him to push. He gets the king in the game. Let's go bishop to c4, preventing his king from coming in. I have to try some tricks. Now he's going to check. I move rook here. I'm going to lose all my pawns. Check, I have to go here. Then rook here. Ay, 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 ay. So let's go here. If he takes, I check. Escape with my king. And, I'm just going to make it seem as if I'm trying to checkmate him. There's no mate there. What if I play rook here first, though? So check. If check, there's king back. So check, king. Okay, let's check. I have to play fast. Then king back. And then king up. No, if king up check, I lose. So let's check. Um, then king up. Check. Okay, let's probably have to check here, actually. Oh, boy. King up, check, king up. Okay, let's take the pawn. He has 30 seconds on the clock. Oh, fudge, that's mate. What did I do? Oh, god damn. Oh, completely messed up the game, man. I could have tried to draw the position again and then completely messed it up twice. Ah, yeah, GG, bro. This is just lost. But I'm gonna try to win on time, obviously. Well, not win on time, but draw. Okay, let's just move. Okay, maybe this. He has 10 seconds. I just need to. not get mate, but it's too late. Ah, good game. I didn't want to lose this. I did not want to lose this game. I did not want to lose this game. Ah, good game, bro. Let's keep going. All right, now we're playing against a 2500, and it's one win, one loss, but have to win against this 2500, which is a lot of pressure. Now this is the Boga Indian variation of the Nimza Indian. After knight d2, I like to just get my king out the center of the board, and then I decide if I want to play either d5 or c5. After pawn to a3, I'm basically forced to give up my bishop for the knight because I don't want to pull the bishop back and waste too much time. And then once he takes, I need to just finish the development of my other pieces. For example, this bishop, I'm going to go b6 so that way I'm able to just play bishop e7 and put my bishop on a long diagonal. So he also fianchettos his bishop. So the guy knows what he's doing. Let's go d6, knight d7. Now all my pieces are developed and active. I want to play e5. I'm assuming if I play e5, he's going to play d5. But there's actually this plan with bishop to e4 where we attack the queen. And then once he moves the queen, I'm just never going to move my bishop. And if he moves his knight, I take on g2 and I'm fine. So queen c3 was played. I should be able to play pawn to c5 here, just striking in the center of the board. Like generally, I don't want to open the position, but I'm just not gonna move my bishop. And if I don't move my bishop, his bishop is not doing anything. And if I don't move my bishop and he wants to use his bishop, he has to use his knight. So I like my position. So he puts his rook on the same line as my queen. Let's just get the rook off the same line as the queen. And then I'm gonna play moves like rook f to d8, rook a to c8. Okay, he's getting his rook in the game. Let's get my rook in the game. Like everyone is playing just regular chess here. I don't think I'm losing. I don't think I'm winning. But let's see. Okay, so he took. I'm thinking about taking with the knight, but b4 there's knight a5. I'm also thinking about taking with the c pawn to use the b file. I'm thinking about taking with the d pawn. But let's take with the how does this go? Take with the b pawn. My d pawn is a bit weak. Bishop f4, there's e5. Yeah, let's take with the pawn. I have to play very active. Bishop f4 would be a nice move, I'm not gonna lie. But if bishop f4, I play e5, slightly weakening my d6 pawn. I'm also thinking of just moving my knight, like knight to f8, followed by knight g3, and attack his bishop. Knight f8, knight g3. That's too slow. Let's go e5. That's way too slow. Now his bishop is under attack. He's forced to move the bishop. So he pulls the bishop back. I'm thinking of rook to b8, just putting my last piece in the game. Let's do, well, rook b8, there's a5. I'm going to play a5 first. a5 is to make it hard for him to play b4. And if he doesn't play b4, I'm going to play a4. And then it's going to be very hard for him to move the pawn. And then I'm going to be targeting his pawn on b2. Like that's my plan here. But the thing is, my pawn on d6 is just it's weak. It's like a backward pawn. So I have to ensure that I keep it guarded. And queen to d2 is a nice move because now he has two attackers versus my one defender. I'm thinking of just rook a6 to be honest. I mean, knight f8 is also just very strong. Yeah, let's go with knight f8 actually. Because knight f8, I can always play knight e6 to d4. Bishop to g5 is kind of annoying. Now, bishop to g5 is very annoying. Okay, so b4 was played. I think I have a little plan here. Like if takes, 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 queen takes, it's just normal. But what if takes, takes, a5? I have a pass pawn. He also has a pass pawn, and then I push, he push. Maybe I move. And nah, that may not work actually. I want to make it work, but it may not work. I think just taking and then just playing knight e6 is good enough. Because I'm also afraid of this bishop g5 move to expose my king. So putting my knight on e6 prevents his bishop from going to g5. And eventually I should be able to play rook to b8, hit the queen, or maybe even rook a2, hit the pawn. In some universe, if I'm able to play pawn d5, I'm going to be fine. But he's still not moving his knight. My whole idea is if he moves his knight, I'm just going to trade, especially if I'm able to get my queen on this diagonal. So there's this bishop to b6 move that I actually did not see. Luckily, if bishop to b6, I'm able to play queen to b7 and his queen is going to be pinned. So he did play the move. I have to play queen to b7. Now his bishop is pinned, or else he's gonna lose the queen. So he has to put the queen somewhere. Holy sh! That was the plan. That was the plan. Okay, does this work though? Because takes, queen takes. Am I not able to just attack the queen? Hit the queen, queen back to b4. Okay, let's think. Takes, takes. Knight e8 attacks the queen. Queen has to go to b4. And once I play rook a6, he's gonna take. So even takes, takes. Takes, takes, rook a6, there's c5. Um, okay, takes, queen takes, knight e4. Do I play knight e4 here? Knight here threatens a 4. If knight takes, I take. Let's try that. It's just such a complex, risky move, but I just blundered a pawn. If he bishop takes is never possible, and if rook takes, I'm gonna play rook takes, and bishop takes is still never possible. But there's always bishop to a5 and bishop to c5. I'm threatening a fork though, and if he takes, I'm gonna take his bishop. That's my master plan, which honestly may not work. But let's see. So he took. Let's take. He's still ahead by a pawn, but his knight is under attack. My bishop is not the safest though. He's still not able to take because he loses the queen. And if he takes on d8, I'm still gonna take. Maybe bishop c5. Let's take bishop c. Oh, knight back to f3. That's interesting. Because if I take, he takes, and he's just gonna play. He's just gonna push the pawn next. Ay ay ay. Okay, what if I play bishop h3? Bishop h3, bishop a5. This should not work. Yeah, that shouldn't work. Takes, takes. Oh, let's just take. I think I have to do it. And then I go rook to b8, trying to win the bishop. And then once he push, I take. I think I have to do this. I don't think it works though. Like his pass pawn is too fast. Well, if he push, I also have knight d5. Push knight d5, queen move, takes, takes. But I'm never going to be able to take the free pawn though. Okay, that might be a draw. If pawn push knight here, queen moves, takes, pawn takes. Nah, nah. Pawn push, I take. Pawn push, pawn push, I takes. Pawn push. His bishop on b6 is just too strong. And then I go, let's try this. Let's take pawn push, hit the queen, take. This is probably losing. Everything is losing today. I'm trying to play knight g4 or knight e4, but it's never going to work. His bishop is always guarding f2. So he pushes the pawn. Now let's try knight to d5. Hits the queen, hits the bishop. If he moves the queen, I take, but he just needs to play pawn to c7. Pawn c7, if I take, he has rook takes. So I have to play rook to c8. He's not able to attack my rook. But once he moves the queen, he's threatening this check. Oh yeah, this is losing. Because if I take, he checks. And I have to take, and that's mate. What? Whoa, what have I done, man? And if I try to guard the rook, that doesn't even make any sense. All right, let's just sacrifice the knight. It's losing. Rook takes, I can't even take the rook. And if rook to f8, there's bishop c5. So he decides to take with the bishop. Let's try queen f5. If he takes, I win. But he just needs to do something, to be honest. I'm gonna play h5 next. Okay, I'm actually gonna try to draw this game. Let's play h5, which means I'm not getting checkmated on the back rank. I have one more pawn than him. Oh, not anymore. What the fudge? All right, let's try f6. Hit the bishop, get the king active. If I trade the rooks off the board, then it's lost. So king f7, king g6. Good move. Let's go king g6. Probably need to resign this, but let's see. Let's just start making moves. He needs to attack my g7 pawn. which is not the easiest pawn to attack. I'm just going to make some waiting moves to see if he's able to convert this into a win. And the good thing is his time is running out, so maybe I'm able to draw this. Um, okay, let's just stay active. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay active with my rook. He moves his king. Let's just stay active. Maybe rook to d8, pin the bishop, anything to stay active. So my rook is under attack. Let's pin the bishop again, staying active. Oh, but no, his king is joining. His king is coming. Ah, that's a very strong plan. All right, let's just move. We have to move. Okay, bishop moves. Let's give a check. Doesn't do much. Let's try to stay active. He needed to move forward with his king, but I'm assuming the time pressure is getting to him. So I'm gonna just try to make it seem like I have something. He literally just needs to get his king active. Okay, bishop c5 is very smart. Um, let's go rook to e8 to prevent his bishop from going here. He pushes the pawn. Okay, let's hit the bishop. Just staying active. Okay, he moves the bishop. Okay, let me just move my king. Like, if I'm able to trade one or two pawns off the board, it's supposed to be a bit easier for me to draw, or at least harder for him to win. And with the time running out, I have my hopes up. So pawn g5. One thing that you guys need to keep in mind is whenever you're winning, you should always try to trade pawns. Not pieces though, but the pawns. Okay, bishop here is very strong. My pawn here is not a target. Okay, I have to take. Okay, let's take. If king here, there's rook here. If rook here, there's rook here. So let's play king here, which is weird because I'm putting my king on the same line as his bishop, and then he attacks the pawn again. I have no tricks. Maybe push, but then he has rook here or rook here. Yeah, there's no more tricks. Okay, let's try this. Let's try to guard the pawn, but there's rook to h5. Okay, he attacks my rook. Let's move. He's still able to play rook to h5. He checks. Let's play king here. That's still a move. Okay, now he's trying to get his king. Very active. Let's try this. Let's just try something like this. If he takes this pawn, I take this pawn, which is winning. So he decides to attack it. Yeah, now I'm just completely lost. Hopefully I'm able to set up a little stalemating trick. Let's see. That's now my plan. Trying to set up stalemate. He has 50 seconds on the clock. He's converting this very well, by the way. Okay, I'm gonna try to attack this pawn. He's just pushing. He's just rolling his past pawn, man. The guy's just so patient. All right, let's go king up. And then let's check the king. God damn, I have nothing. Check. Check the king. Keep checking the king. Oh, can't trade. We can't trade. Trading is not an option. Uh, okay, let's just move. It's just an easy position for him to play now. So the time pressure doesn't even do much. Okay, now he's just gonna. I'm just trying to set up a stalemating trick. Like, I want to put my king in a little stalemate scenario. Okay, king up. Let's give a check. Okay, now I'm just mated. Okay, good game. Good game. Wow.